Alright, let me get this out of the way. I know very little of the Digimon series, whether it be video games or the animated shows. I've never seen any episodes, and the only games I've played are the PS2 ones, and don't worry, we'll get to those in a later video, and Digimon World 2. Yeah, I haven't even played the original Digimon Rumble Arena, but that's because a few years back, I was looking for some Smash clones for the PlayStation 2, other than the one I currently had. So, yeah, despite how little I know of the series, let's see if this game is still any fun. There's no story. Moving on. Here we go. Bye. Things are kept, super simple here, as we have only two modes, single player and multiplayer. Let's go over the single player mode first here. In this mode, you will go through a series of battles, though not all of them are going to be a traditional eliminate your opponent's stock. Sometimes you'll play in these pseudo minigames, like here where you have to hold on to this glowing egg to get points while avoiding your rival. By playing these in the single player, you'll unlock them in the multiplayer. However, I never cared for these other ways to play. They just aren't as engaging as the basic fighting against everyone else. So, in the single player, you're trying to make your way to the other end of this grid, where you can take on a final boss. By beating that boss, you will unlock these characters, which means you'll have to play this mode multiple times to unlock everybody. It's okay, and there seems to be one other character I haven't unlocked, so I don't know how I'm supposed to do that. But the multiplayer is the most fun part of this game. Now, let me give you a real quick heads up. After you've selected your character, and you're about to select a stage, here you can also adjust the settings to the fight. Turn the game speed to fast. Most of the footage that I've been showing you has been from story mode stuff, so let me give you a quick comparison of normal versus fast. Here's normal. And here's fast. Yeah, I don't know if it's just me, but turning the game speed to fast really helps make the game feel more lively, combos feel much more effective, and the controls just come off as less clunky. Speaking of controls, the setup here is very similar to that of Smash Bros. You have some basic attacks, special attacks that act as the B moves, and there's some blocking and so on and so forth. What I really like is that you can change the controller layout in the options, which I did immediately because the initial control layout is really weird to me. I basically set it up to feel more like a Dynasty Warriors game, as that works for me way more. So gameplay wise, fights go how you would imagine. Fight off your opponents and see who ends up with any stock in the end, or who got the most KOs in a certain amount of time. What's an interesting mechanic to this game is the evolution system. So unless you're playing as one of the final boss characters, all the Digimon can Digi-evolve by collecting so many of these orbs that are rewarded to you by beating up your opponents. Not only does your little monster buddy change their look, but they also get very different movesets, which makes playing as all these different characters much more appealing. Maybe as a smaller monster, your character's basic special is nothing more than a fireball, but when fully Digi-evolved, their basic special becomes an explosion. Like I said, this makes it way more fun to play as different characters. Or maybe you find that one character who has a great moveset that you have to work towards. But then, that's where the problems come in. This game is balancing as fuck. Seriously, there are some super overpowered characters in this game. I mean, just look at the crazy reach and spam ability of this guy. Insane, right? So, if you're playing with friends, hopefully they won't pull that kind of crap on you. Set some boundaries. Stages are pretty fun to fight on too. You have a few basic stages where you just jump around and can break some platforms, but then there are some with gimmicks to them. We have a few decent gimmicks, like the moving stage, the factory that changes up the platforms, and this rig that has a few obvious hazards to avoid. Then there are the more questionable stages, like the factory that will turn your character into a barrel. Oh, that one's so much fun. It's so easy to fall off and you can't do a goddamn thing. And this one with the rising lava. Not a huge fan of these two. The rest of the stages I find to be more fun or much more bearable. I like them anyway, and it's nice to have the variety. While I'm not familiar with the Digimon creatures or characters, I don't exactly know what they are. I do enjoy seeing all these different monsters. You have some cool variety here, from T-Rex looking creatures to bug monsters, a neat polar warrior, and even angelic entities. Then we have some fun looking stages to fight on, like a demonic toy chest, a large waterfall, a ghost town, and some strange factory. I don't know if any of these stages are based off of locations from the show, but if they aren't, then I understand why some fans might be a bit disappointed by that. After all, it would have been a better use of the license, though at the same time, this game doesn't seem to be a reference to any specific Digimon series. So, everything is so colorful and the character models are well detailed and have some decent animations. It all looks good and works well for me. In the end, I like this game, despite not having much background knowledge of the Digimon series. Turning up the game speed and despite some clunky controls and horrible balancing, it's a fun time. I'm not saying it's amazing or the best of the Smash clones for the PlayStation 2, but to me, it's much better than Blade Warriors, and is a game I actually go back to from time to time. I really like the idea of a monster series having a Smash fighting game, and I think Rumble Arena 2 pulled it off well enough. If you're a Digimon fan, you might appreciate some things better than I do. I definitely recommend giving this game a try if you can ever get it at a good price. I know I had to spend a bit more for an original box art and manual copy, but I think the price has gone down just a smidge since then. Anyway, join me next time where we'll be taking a look at the last game in this mini marathon, so see you all then.